Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live with the Pricing Lady. It's Janine here once again for your weekly installment of pricing goodies and information. Today, I'd like to welcome Ellen to the show. Ellen Newman. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, Janine. How are you?
I'm great. So Ellen is joining us today as our transformation expert. And of course, when it comes to doing pricing, whether you're a big business or a small business, it is a transformation. And we always, in the pricing circle, we joke that pricing is a marathon, not a sprint.
So true.
It is an evolution. Exactly. So everyone, for those of you who are new to the show is all about helping small businesses like yours get better at pricing. So welcome to the show. Ellen, why don't we kick things off by having you introduce yourself?
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I love being here. So I am a former corporate healthcare executive, a former nurse, and I turned to coaching after I left the corporate world. And so that's what I do now. I founded Transforming Your Tomorrows, as you had up there. And I do life and business coaching. And I live with my husband, and my son happens to live with us for the time being right now, doing his business. And I have a little puppy dog, a Sheltie, that everybody wants to own. Everybody loves my dog more than anything else. It's like, no, you can't have him. He's incredibly well trained. Maybe that's why, but plus he's beautiful. But other than that, I'm just coming along with my coaching business and getting ready for a home move. And it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. and living life and enjoying that we've had the time to go within during the pandemic.
Right.
And then now looking forward to getting out again, hopefully, so yeah.
Yes. There's a different energy around here as well right now. So
right?
it's very lightening, let's say.
Yeah.
So in our episode today, what we wanted to talk about is facing your pricing fears as a means to help transform your business.
Right.
Why don't we start this conversation by you telling us a little bit how you got started in your own business?
Well, it was an interesting journey. I'm deeply empathic or intuitive. And so several years ago, I used to work for a children's hospital as building their business. And on the way to work one day, I said, when I retire, I'm still young, but when I get out of the corporate world, I really want to be a coach. And I just put that in the back of my mind. But over the years, I got trained as an infinite possibilities trainer by Mike Dooley, for any of you who might know him. But then, I was managing emergency rooms across the country in the United States. And I was traveling every month. It was an intense job. You're never sleeping and you're never off. I mean, literally 24/7. And so I really got to the point where, I was already certified as an infinite possibilities trainer and teaching it in an adult ed program to doctors and accountants and kind of shifting their mind. But leaving the corporate world, I needed to leave. I needed balance in my life. And I knew that I just wasn't happy. And so when I finished I worked with another company for a little while to get their business up and running. But I really got certified as a coach. That's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to share my years of business knowledge, but also my years of my internal personal growth that transformed me. I mean, I literally learned how to set boundaries. And with that, once being certified, I said, okay, then let's make this a business now, just like everybody else. And I've got something to say, and I can really help people shift. And so that's how I got into it. Is I realized that I was burning out, and I was never a nurse who did burn out. Didn't matter what I did, the hours I worked, I never burnt out. But in this job, managing ERs, I was burning out. And I said, you know what? There's something that it just isn't right. It's not balanced. And so it really pushed me. It literally pushed me like, you got to get the heck out of this role and get into something that you are already doing, you already love. I had my staff write notes to me. I couldn't be where I'm at without a coach like you. Now, I was vice president, but they're calling me a coach because that's how I managed in business. You know, so it was just kind of like written on the wall. It was inside of me, but I finally took the leap.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. And it is a leap oftentimes starting your own business. It's very true. So Joellen, one of the big questions that I like to ask people is, what was it like when you first started having to price out what you were offering?
Well, I have to laugh because, you know, listening to my history, I was always employed. I was a W-2 person. So I had staff for marketing. I had staff for this. And it's like, all of a sudden, my gap of knowledge was so wide. It's like, oh my God, I have to do research and find a price. All by myself. I'm a solopreneur. And it's like, I was clueless. I call it Clueless in Seattle, you know, like the movie, you know, Sleepless in Seattle, but I was clueless. And I'm telling you, really clueless. And it's like, so even when I was training to be a coach, I offered my services for free. Now, this is 80, 100 hours, 200 hours of coaching. You know, some people do that, but really, you should offer it even for $10 an hour. I mean, you think of all those hours. I mean, come on, $10, $20 an hour. But I was like, no. I was clueless. So then as a young entrepreneur, I realized, all right, well, let me start out at this low price. And I actually shared it with a coach one time. She looked at me like I had four heads and said, you need to raise your price. And I said, really? I mean, it just
really. So that surprised you?
It did. It did surprise me.
Why do you think it surprised you so much?
Because I didn't do enough. Well, one, I didn't do enough research. That's the logical process, but the emotional process as, oh, I'm in a new field and maybe I'm not as worth as much as other people who've been doing this a long time. I had to go through those feelings. And it's like, I have an MBA behind me. I have years of experience that nobody else has ever had. And it's like, what's up with that, Joellen? You know? So I really
you can say there was a bit of fear there then.
Oh my God, Janine, you have, I shouldn't say you have no idea. That's what you coach. Of course you have an idea. But I had to realize it's like, there's a whole chunk of fear, like this big chunk, right? And it was like, oh, it was an awakening. And so I really went through my own awakening. Like, this is, first of all, I'm safe. I am enough. I have all these skills. I got into this because I believed in myself. So let's look at that. And now you may not know all the hows to be an entrepreneur and do the business, but you certainly have the worth and the value just on, and again, now more training, but to bring more insights to people. And so I had to work that out. And that was not a journey. That was not a short journey for me. I think people younger than me, they're so brilliant. But for me, it took a little bit more time, and I'm not trying to, I'm truly not trying to marginalize myself. But I think kids, I call kids, 20 to 40, right? In that frame. It's like you guys are so on it, but you also don't quite know how to take that leap either. And now that I've been through it, I do. Right. But I had to work that out. Like, what the heck is going on? And all right, now how do I solve my fears? How do I solve my self-doubts? How do I solve that imposter syndrome? I'd never heard of the imposter syndrome, by the way, ever before. Like, what is that? Those three things were chunks of emotions that I learned to say, this is not real. It may appear as fearful, but that's your mind chatter, the false evidence appearing real. Like, people just want to know you. People want to talk. People want to share. Like, this is what I'm going through. It's as simple as that, having a message. And for my coaching, transforming your tomorrows, it just really came to me. It's like, when I coach people, I literally want to transform your tomorrows from, oh my God, I'm stuck, or oh my God, I'm fearful, or oh my God, I don't know how to work out this organizational or strategic process. But those things now, it's like, I know exactly how you feel. I was like walking in mud, you know?
So the pricing is like walking in mud if you don't know what you're doing.
Right?
That's a good, I could live with that.
Yeah, pricing, it
That's
really
okay.
was, is how do I price this? And so once I worked out those fears, Janine, it's like, then I raised my prices by $50. All right.
From
Now,
what to what?
I was 75.
75. Okay, so
70.
that's a heavy increase. Yeah, that's
It
two-thirds,
was, but
60%.
it was a pretty good increase. But I realized that every person I coached was getting transformational changes. And I thought, and other people, at least in this area, because I do believe market still drives prices, and you may re-educate me too on that. But in this area, they're still saying, Joellen, you need to raise your prices. You need to raise your prices, And so I have also done that. Now I'm a little bit more flexible as I go higher. I'll have a range for some people. But I don't any longer devalue the intellectual property that I come with. And the years it took to package that to what I deliver. It didn't just happen in the past. I've been coaching now for about 3 years. It didn't just happen in those 3 years. It happened with the past 40 years of my career.
And I think a lot of times when people come from the corporate world, they're stepping out to being quite often coaches or consultants, they kind of discredit that historical set of skills that they've developed. And they're like, well, I haven't been coaching for that long, so I should position myself really low compared to everybody else. But that history also has value.
Right. And that is exactly what I did. Right. I thought, oh gosh, my skills were in organizational management or clinical skills or teaching. And of course, all of that came together in coaching. So,
well, and as you said, you were doing coaching all along.
Right. Right. I mean, my staff did not know I was coaching on the side. I was managing a company, and yet that's what they wrote, because, even then I never believed, I don't believe when you're in a W-2 world, when you're in employed, that people come to work and try to screw up. I mean, or at least maybe at 0.000.1% might do that, but it's incredibly rare. And so I always looked at things that, instead of being punitive, how do you, is the system, is my company not supporting your, what you need to get done, or is there a knowledge gap that you need to improve? So it's one of those two things, period. I think and maybe attitude, but attitude, it's like, are you having a hard day? We all have hard days. We all have crappy days, right? It's like, it's only when it becomes consistent. So I don't really deal, I dealt with that, but shifting that whole mentality into, as an entrepreneur, was really easy, that particular portion of it, because now I know how to teach, how to set up your business, how to get going, what do you need to do. But the pricing was the biggest hurdle. It really was for me, making sure that I was clear on that, and clear within myself first, and then looked at the market, because the self-image or the self-definition was what held me back.
Was what held you back. Okay. Yeah. And how did facing that fear, those fears that you had, those challenges that you had, how, aside from just raising your prices, what are other ways that transformed your business, or what was going on in your business and life?
It's interesting. It really allowed me to network and open up my voice. Okay. So logically, because I keep using the word logically, but I coach with a logical approach, but I also coach with a very intuitive, creative approach. So on the left brain, right, would be all right, how do you step out and show your fierceness, show your boldness, right? You're your own hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that really, for me, said, oh, okay, if I'm going to raise my prices, I need to communicate that, but I need to communicate. I communicate more on LinkedIn in terms of reaching out to potential clients, or I communicate more with other colleagues or even friends in terms of reaching out and networking and communicating my services. I do more shows. I do my own show. I'm now in a virtual summit where I'm, speaking with 20 other entrepreneurs. So it really said, okay, now this is who I am. This is what I believe. This is where my pricing is. I can't stay in this little hidden box. It really said, okay, I can get out there and share with the rest of the world. You can move past those pricing fears, which is, I think, having you is such a gold mine, because it's probably one of the greatest obstacles for visionaries and new entrepreneurs and people who are trying, like, what the heck do I do? And, I mean, I think there should be a pricing lady in everyone's package for business. Period.
It's funny that you say that. It's funny you say that, because in very, very early stages of my business, my plan was actually to sell my services to the banks that give out small business loans.
Oh my God. I love that idea. I don't know if you did that, but I love that idea, because, entrepreneurs, it's not just me. I was not a solo person who was clueless. I think new entrepreneurs are clueless. And I think, and no disrespect to them, but I think there's so much, they have a beautiful vision. They have a beautiful passion for what they want to deliver. But again, pricing, fear, presentation, branding, all those things are a package that says, this is who I am and what I do. And how do you get that done? How do you begin to price? So I think it's a key element in success. And starting at the very top, at the very beginning, would solve them from spending so much more on this course and that course. And they would absolutely be clear.
Joelle, one of the things I found really interesting about what you said is that it was almost like once you decided to change your prices, you kind of stepped outside that comfort zone and into this vision of yourself that in some ways you had all along.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you can do the inner work, but if you don't take the action with the new you, then you really haven't done the inner work. You haven't moved beyond the fear, right? You have to take action. The reason we have millionaires and billionaires and people who are succeeding in business is because they had a dream, right? They may not have known how to do all the hows, but they had to take action. And sometimes fear will hold us back, literally, from selling or just whatever steps in taking action. And so you have to translate your new attitude, your healthy attitude, into action. So that really
translating that fear into action is what allows you then to start really transforming your business. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because
you heard it, everyone.
It's even in my coaching. I mean, I can coach your mindset and really get you to shift. And I do evidence-based coaching. So you're going to know exactly how you're feeling at the beginning of a session and the end. And we're going to take you through a program. But that mindset has to translate into action, the logical world that we live in.
So what's a tip we can give everyone when it comes to how to face any fears that they're feeling around their pricing?
I think
any fear, I mean.
Yeah, well, I think this is, first of all, it's just stop and think where they're at. And is this real fear? All right. Is there real threatening fear? If I say, gosh, would you think about coaching? Could this help you? Is something going to hurt you if you do that? you have to stop and take a pause. And then you have to drop into your own body and really like, okay, where's this fear? Where do I feel it? Where's it holding me back? And then say, when you've realized, oh, this isn't really fear. This is just my mind chatter. All right. So then what I do is there's this wonderful 68-second exercise. You can get into like Superwoman pose and just start. I am awesome. I know how to sell. I know how to connect with people. Literally, it chemically, it changes your body to create more endorphins. It increases your testosterone, that chemical testosterone, where you feel more self-assured. But you roll with the punches, meaning the next thing you do is to take action, even if it's a tiny little step.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's a very important point as well. We're not talking, you don't have to go and change your prices 60% all at once. You know, sometimes that does make sense and other times it doesn't. But taking it one little step at a time can be just as effective as making one big step, or, you know, you do what's right for you and your business. The thing is that you question that fear that you're feeling and make an assessment about whether or not it's a real fear in terms of there's real danger there, or if it's just, you know, kind of the story that you're telling yourself that is holding you back. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So we're going to start wrapping things up here. I just took a look at the time. Oh my. And I have a few questions that we can use to wrap it up. So if there's one thing that you'd like people to remember from this episode, what is that thing that you'd like them to remember?
I would say that you are absolutely enough with who you are right now, with what you know. And if you have a real concern about pricing, to call you, I would absolutely do. No, I would just give her a call. But if you can answer that your unique voice, you're here for a reason. Somebody is going to connect with your unique voice. So just take that step and go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're worth it. Absolutely. Very good. Thank you for that. So my next question is, if you were talking to that younger self of yours about 3 years ago, I think you said, when you started your business, what's some business advice or something that you know now that you didn't know then, but that you wish you did?
I would probably the most important thing is I would sit down and start writing how I thought my business would look 3 to 5 years from now.
Okay.
Like, what do I want to achieve? Who's the resource that could get me there if I don't have the answer? It's a lengthy letter, but I would do that because that creates so many aha moments that will get you ahead of the game, even if it takes you a couple of days. It's like, all right, I want to do this. 3 years from now, I want to have this many clients, or I want to have this many products. I want to be at this range in my salary, in my personal salary. How do I get there? And then break it down to day by day. That's also, some people call it the freedom metric. If you want, start with a hard number. I want to earn $100,000 3 years from now, and then break it down. So what do I need to earn by each day? How many days a week I want? Those things you just clear out in a letter, and it will be really, it's on black and white. You're communicating your message to the universe, but you're communicating that message to yourself. Very, very powerful tool.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. So it's almost like an informal business plan, not a business plan, because you're not so much getting into the how, but it's really kind of envisioning that future and then looking at what it might take to get you there. Yeah.
It serves both as introspection as well as inspiration.
Super.
And so it could be become a structure for a business plan. But you're much more clear. Yeah.
Okay. So, Joellen, where can people reach out? Where can they find you if they'd like to know more about what you do and how you work with people?
Oh my gosh. They could go to my webpage, that you have up there. Thank you.
Yes, and I'll also put that in the comments.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
pyt-lifeandbusinesscoaching.com. And when
Right.
they go there, they could sign up to contact me, and they get a really a very 5 or 8 pages. I forget how long it is now.
Mhm.
It's a working resource guide in terms of
Okay.
getting clear for them. It's got tools in there. It's really cool.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. And then they can
Mhm.
get on my newsletters that always has
Right.
tips in there and
Mhm.
clearing on how to, clear their fears of money,
Okay.
because I work a
Right.
lot around money,
Right.
and mindset and
Okay.
other tools. I mean, so many,
Okay.
whether it's tech or things like that.
Very
Lots of
good.
fun stuff.
Thanks. You
You're welcome.
also mentioned earlier that today is the kickoff for a virtual summit that you're participating in. So let me go ahead and put that up here. If you go to the ultimatecoaching.club/Ellen Newman, you can find that there. And I also put that in the comments below for everyone as well.
Cool. Yes. My topic there is the 7 energies of money.
Oh,
So
excellent.
it's because
We'll have to check it
we
out.
go hand in hand. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I hope you like
Super.
it.
Excellent. So there'll be, aside from Joellen, I'm guessing there are lots of other resources on there, but be sure to head on over and check out Joellen's.
Thank you.
All right, Joellen. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. That was really interesting. I have some really great takeaways. I can't wait to do the show notes from today's episode.
Thank you.
Everybody, yeah, we've learned about facing your pricing fears and how transforming your business, and we've heard about Joellen's own story today. Thank you for being on the show, Joellen.
Thank you so much. I loved it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. That's our show for today. That's a wrap, as they say. I wish you all the best. If you want to find out more about pricing and how to improve it in your business, head on over to Janine Liston or thepricinglady.com and book yourself a discovery call. We'll talk about what's going on with pricing in your business and make sure you get on the road to success. That's all for today's show. Have a great week, everyone. And until next time, enjoy pricing, everybody.